Hello, and welcome to yet another Tip Tuesday. My name is Augustine, and I'm going to be showing you a pretty neat, pretty tiny tool that can be used to overcome certain situations where you don't have access to certain ports or you're in a pretty locked down network. So this is going to be a video for someone who's more involved in IT, not really end users. This is people that are going to need access to certain servers and configurations, so just keep that in mind. So the tool in question is um, from within our folder, we have a bunch of executables, 90 something to be exact. Well, not really that exact. And in there we have these four executables. And these four executables are the email server. Okay. And what the email server does is it routes email from the database out to the internet. So typically, if you have the client open your computer is the one that's going to send the email. In this case, it's going to be kind of a proxy where it's going to send the email contents to the database, and then from the database, it's going to try to detect. It's going to ping every amount of seconds to detect the email and then ship it out. So the first thing that we need to do here, and before I continue with that, actually, it might be good to talk about why you would do this. Um, One good example of why you would do this is, say you're running WebTier and you have a technician that goes to a customer site, and the customer site is they have internet there, they have Wi-Fi or whatever. However, it's pretty locked down. You can only access ports 80 and 443 and maybe something else. Um, you end up using WebTier tools because you need to do some RS-232. Well, there's a problem. Whenever you try to send emails, if you bear with me here, if you configure a port that's not 443 or 80 for your SMTP settings, which is very likely, the email won't go out because it's trying to access through the network, or it's trying to send the email through the network that is precisely locked down. So you could say that, yeah, we could use the print server. Well, you can't really use the print server to print and do RS-232. So this would be a good alternative to overcoming that situation. So the first thing that you need to do is open the profile manager, which I already have, and create an account. So the account in this case is going to be a dedicated account that's only going to take care of sending emails. That's it. We can set it up as a system administrator account, and oh, okay. Make sure, just in case, that we set up an email here, so that whenever we go into the user location settings, if we take a checkbox there, that I'll make a note, I'll mention it. Um, that email is pulled and the email gets sent out correctly. Okay, so we create the account, and then we can go ahead and log in IndySoft to the account. So you can see in the top right here that I have the account of email server. So I can go to my user location settings, and in the email settings, I recommend it, use SMTP. So configure your SMTP settings. You should have the credentials provided by your company, and go ahead and test the email. So I'm going to test it for myself and make sure that I got it. Yep, I got the test email. So once that's configured, we can actually get rid of this account in the dashboard. So I'm going to log into my account that's going to be using the it's going to be using the print server. So stopping there for a second, let's go back to the folder. The application that you're going to need to use to configure the email setup is going to be, or sorry, the email server is going to be in the email setup.exe. One thing I recommend to do this, I'm using Windows 11, so this might look different, is to go into your properties, and in your properties, just check run this firm as an administrator. The reason for that is that one of the methods to install this is is installing the server as a service in Windows. Sounds pretty redundant. So if you do that, you're going to need administrative rights. And before I forget, I did promise that I was going to mention something in the user location settings. This is the setting that you need to, that if you check, you need to have that email configured in the employee section. But I'm not going to use it. Okay. Okay. So let's go ahead. I already configured my executable. Yep. And we're going to go ahead and open it. It's going to prompt me for administrative rights. So here's where the magic comes. I want this to be pretty quick at sending emails. So I'm going to set up an interval of 5 seconds first. And then the username that I'm going to set is, yes, you guessed it, the user that we set up earlier. So we set this up. We can say, hey, always send the email from the server, or we can use the from address from the account that's trying to send emails. So if this has a from account of support@IndySoft.com, if we check this, it's always going to use this. If we don't check it, it's going to use the one in the user that's going to try to send it. So if I try to send from IndySoft, it's most likely going to use this email from here. Okay, kind of tricky, but I think it's trickier to explain than to understand. So we do have three options to send emails. The first option is the one that I recommend the least, mainly because Windows is tricky when it comes to the task scheduler. Using a scheduled task, what it's going to do is it's going to send it, or it's going to set up a task to run every certain amount of time and just ship those emails out. Okay, and for this you need to configure a username and password for Windows, not IndySoft, and add the task. Also, make sure that the user in your policy settings has the logon as batch job permissions enabled, so that the task can run without any issues. This is good if you don't want the emails to be sent, or if you don't want the session to be started in Windows for the emails to be sent. But if you're going to be dedicating a computer specifically for this, it doesn't make a difference. So the second, So the second option is installing it as a service. I recommend this. It's just going to run as a service in Windows. Windows handles services pretty well, actually, so no biggie there. And the third is a tray application. So you have to specify the settings within the tray. I'm not going to go into that since they're pretty similar to this. I'm going to be using the service option. So the very first thing that we need to do is install the service. So it's going to close. You get a prompt on the on your main screen saying that it was installed in the email setup. We run it again, and it's installed, but it's stopped, so we can run it. Now the service is running. It's going to be prompting every 5 seconds in order to send an email. And if I wait long enough, I believe I had an email scheduled to send, but I can try it again. Okay, so another thing to note, email setup, is that there's no email configuration here. You can't input the SMTP settings or anything like that. That's because it's grabbing the SMTP settings from the user location settings that we configured earlier. Okay, so you're pretty much done. Now, whenever you try to send an email on the IndySoft user, you can go to user location settings, and in the email settings, you can check this little box here. And we can leave this field empty so that it uses any server. Typically, you will only have one server, so that's the only one it's going to get routed through. So I can go ahead and test the email. And I just got it 0 minutes ago. So the email server also has, and I can't show you the, since it's my second screen, I can't show you my tray here, But on the tray, there's an icon that you can double click, and you can see here it's been checking for emails. And if let's try to go ahead and send another email here. See if we can find it in the log. Okay, so let's test the email again. Send it to myself. Okay. Um, I can see here it's going to check in the next 10 seconds. And just wait a couple more seconds. Oh, there it is. So the email was sent, and I did get just a barrage of emails here because I was testing it a lot. So yeah, that's a way to do it. This way, you can leave this. You can configure this in a server that you know can just run all the time. And I changed the timeout to or sorry, the frequency to 10 seconds so that I could see it happening a little better. Um, but that's it. That's all you need. So whenever anyone goes to a site or they just don't want to know any email settings, you can go ahead and set the email server and be good to go. Like it's just a checkbox. No need to say, hey, extended MAPI or all these SMTP settings, which can confuse users. So there it is. I hope this was helpful. And of course, any questions you ever have, be sure to contact our support. Thank you.